Hello, I'm Jared.
And I'm Ebony, and this is his.
And hers, Warhammer 40k.
Yay.
We're back, and today we will be discussing The Martyr's Tomb by Marc Collins.
Which is book 8?
No,
6 in the Dawn of Fire
in the Dawn of Fire series. This was one that we listened to on Audible. Mm-hmm. So we've been going back and forth between physical and audio books, depending on how much driving we're having to do that month or 2 months, however long it's been. Let's start with the good with this book.
Please go.
Yes, of course. So The Martyr's Tomb is about an assault by a group of Death Guard of the world. I immediately forgot it.
I don't know where they're from. But they are assaulting the world.
No,
Velua.
Velua.
Oh, I thought you meant where the Death Guard are from. Yes.
No, I don't care where they're from.
Okay, the world in question is Velua.
Yes, which is the 7th world in a group of planets called the Golden Chain, which basically are... They're a holy set of planets, but I believe Velua is the only one that's considered a shrine world.
And the Death Guard and Nurgle love 7.
They do love 7. I did read the appendix for this book, which I did think it was interesting. The Death Guard had the numbers to assault all 7 of the worlds at once, and they chose not to. They wanted to do them in order, because if there's one thing Nurgle loves more than, decay and the number 7, it's counting to 7.
By 7. He likes to count by 7s also.
That too, yes. He's big on tally.
7 is oddly, my favorite number, actually.
It's because you're a Nurgle at heart.
I'm a Nurgling.
Sure.
A little Nurgle.
Yes. A little lord?
Yes.
Good job. Okay, so this book, like I said, positive. The Death Guard in it, especially their leader, Gromulus Tool, excellent.
Yeah.
Loved this character.
Also, the voice acting was great. Like, the narrator was great. I liked the narration of this book.
For the whole book? Really?
For the Death Guard, at least.
Okay, sure. So, all right, let's rephrase that.
Okay.
The voice work for the Death Guard.
Good.
I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
Gromulus Tool, known as the Pilgrim, the Faithbreaker, and one of the Hands of Abaddon, which is a running theme throughout the Dawn of Fire series. Is the Hands of Abaddon are kind of the main antagonists that we've been seeing. So that was interesting, and I thought he was nicely fleshed out. He has this interesting desire to corrupt religious iconography and sort of incorporate that faith into his Nurgle faith. I thought that was really good. I even thought his followers, Olgrath, Dacrin, Pustros, were all decently interesting characters, and I especially loved how they interacted with the Nurgle cult that is sort of the first uprising on the planet, the Children of the Sevenfold Revelation. Warren,
who was their
the
prophet, right?
Yes. All of those scenes I loved a lot.
Okay.
There were a few other interesting moments that I really enjoyed throughout the book. When the Cardinal of Velua, first realizes the extent to which they're being assaulted. He takes his own life.
Yeah, that's an interesting
And I
bit.
thought that was really well done. Colonel Drasnin, which you probably don't remember this,
I don't remember
who was head of the Veluan Hoplites. He was like the PDF force, essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe it was a regiment. He flees from battle and gets taken, caught, essentially, held in prison, and eventually given over to the religious order of the Mechanicus, which I believe turns him into a penitent engine. Which it's always fun to see those. They're the true grimdark icons of 40k.
I did appreciate that, we get to see lots of parts of Imperial forces happening at the same time, right? There are Black Templars, which we'll get to. There's Space Marines in this story. There's Sisters of Battle in this story. There's a little bit of Morvenn Vahl and Rabute Gilliman in the beginning. You get to see the Ecclesiarchy. You get to see the Mechanicum. That's good.
This story would have made a great Imperial armor book. I don't know if you know the Imperial armor books. They were basically historical textbooks that before the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, I can see that.
That detailed specific wars in
yeah.
40K
I could see that.
with
Yeah.
like real historical level, like historian level precision.
Yeah, I could read it for that.
This would have been very good for that.
Are you out of things you liked?
Hold on. I'm digging. Aniran, who was our neophyte Black Templars.
Yeah.
I appreciated that they tied in that the Black Templars recruit from everywhere. Like, they don't have a set homeworld, not really. And so their recruits can be from everywhere.
Yeah.
And across Space Marines, it does seem to vary how much their pre-implantation life impacts their personality and their beliefs as a Space Marine. And obviously the chapter will either encourage or downplay that variable. I did like his sort of history coming from this like jungle hunter type of world.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, the little references there were pretty neat.
That's it.
I'm digging. Hold on. I'm going to give this
I can tell you that you've got more things already than I did that I liked.
I know.
I was not a huge fan.
Magos Yazrin was a character that we really enjoyed. So we're introduced, sort of halfway through the book, they introduced a storyline that was the main story arc from Void King. Void King was about trying to find another path across the Great Rift that's not the Nakhmud Gauntlet. And we're reintroduced to Katla Hellwinter, which was one of the rogue traders, who's now been sort of forced into an Indomitus Crusade fleet, Task Force Saturnine, in order to just continue with this initial task.
I will say that Katla is my favorite part of this book.
Yeah?
She might have been the only character that, like, felt real and
now,
fleshed out and that I
feel...
cared about, and it's probably because I knew her before.
You feel it was because she had another book to be fleshed out in?
I didn't love her in the other book.
No?
I didn't even like Void King that much. I just felt, compared to the way characters are introduced in this book, I at least cared what happened to her. I think that if you're done with positives, I'll tell you what my primary negative is.
Okay.
My primary negative...
That's all we got for positives. So
yeah, that feels bad. Yeah, it's going downhill. My primary negative is that this book starts in the middle of a battle with people you've never heard of before, you don't know anything about, and nothing happens in that sort of...
On a planet that we've never heard of.
Yeah, on a planet that we've never heard of. But, like, when you do that in a story, right, which it's called a cold open, something emotional has to happen to one of those characters to make you instantly invested in them. And it is just, like, for the audiobook, it's like 30 straight minutes of bolter porn. And I was like, I don't care.
Yep.
I don't care who any of these people are. I don't care who they're shooting at. I don't care who they're running from. When is this going to be over? And so right from the jump, I was like, all right, I guess, whatever. We're shooting at people.
Yep.
Like that, it never hooked me. So at least when Katla comes along in the end, I'm like, oh, I know who that is. And at least I think I know where she's going.
Combat in this book is a slog.
There's a lot of it.
I'm sorry, Marc Collins. You do very good sort of slow-paced film noir style works. We really liked Grim Repast.
Oh, I loved it, yeah.
Your combat is not good.
It's not that it's bad. So there are
it's
scenes...
so bland.
There are scenes with the champion, like with Gaheris and with Barrison, the, like, veteran Black Templar, that are good, but they feel fake because in the middle of this pitched battle, someone will have a 37-minute speech, and you're like, someone shooting at you?
There'll be a cut to tell the history of something that really should have been 5 chapters ago, if not even not in the book at all.
It's that its pacing is off during the... I don't love a bolter porn, but I can appreciate a good battle for, like, competency porn's sake, but it's just that they're paced so poorly. Yeah.
And that is a serious problem for there's not really a strong central plot for this book.
No.
You know, on one hand, we have the Order of the Martyred Lady. We have Canoness Arinia, who is probably the closest to a main character that we have.
She is the main character, but for me, the problem with her is that she spends most of her time in flashback. So her story is that, like, the story of her sister's situation is that, like, she had this relationship. She went through training with this sister Timu, who is like a vaunted saint of
Yep.
her order and of this planet. And so everyone's like, oh, it's amazing, you used to know this saint. And she's like, yeah, I knew her in the academy. And then we'd have a whole chapter that's like a flashback of them doing something as children, to which I will say there is a twist there that the author's trying to guide you through. But I don't know, the 7th time that flashback
You see
happens,
it coming
you're
a
like,
mile away.
I know what this twist is, and I'm over it. Please stop doing
And to
this
be honest,
flashback.
Void King had the same problem.
Yeah,
You could like
you can see it coming.
There were no red herrings to it.
No.
It is exactly what you think it is going
Yeah.
to be, and it is so obvious.
Yeah, we won't ruin that twist for you if you're going to read it. But
Yeah.
like, it's really obvious by, I don't know, the 3rd time you have a flashback to her and this sister.
First and a half,
Maybe,
like,
yeah,
I'll,
but-
I'll give you 2.
Unfortunately, there are like 7 of them,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But you know, when she's fighting, it's fine, right? Like, it's fine.
Yeah, he does this thing in this writing where he'll use 2 similes
You
back
hated
to back
that.
to
Yeah.
describe this, and it's over and over again. He's doing this, and
Maybe he
I
just
don't,
loves the simile.
I don't like that. I feel like it's padding.
Yeah.
You know? It
I w-
happens way too much for it to not feel like padding.
My hot take is that this whole book is padding. Like, if this book never existed in the course of the Dawn of Fire, which we are reading them in order,
Yeah.
I don't think I would notice.
Yeah.
Like, unless, I don't know, a Nyren saves the world in the next book. Like, unless those characters are central to whatever's in the second book, I feel like we could not have had this book at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
Filler.
it's for me the weakest Dawn of Fire book.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it has a place in what is a numbered series.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't-
like the presence of Gromulus Tool and the Hand of Abaddon is really the only thing that ties it together.
And Katla,
And Katla, which I don't.
which is
I-
Void King an official part of the
No.
Dawn of Fire series?
No, it
No,
isn't.
it's like an off story.
Yep.
Yeah. So actually, not really Ketla. Yeah.
all right. There's more to harp on. One of the big ones for me is I never want to read a book about the Black Templars again. I'm done. This is
The entire Dawn of Fire series is about the Black
I-
Templars.
this is the my problem is they're all different groups of Black Templar.
They are.
We don't continue to follow
So-
any of them.
So you don't know anyone. Yeah, you don't there are no characters you fall in love with. I will say of the Dawn of Fire series, the woman from the Mordian regiment.
Yes, but that's because
Solid.
we followed her.
Multiple
because
books,
she's been-
yeah.
Keth?
Keth.
Yeah.
Kev, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's great.
Yes. That has been solid.
Mhm.
We have had 3 separate Black Templar
Templar,
crusades.
Yeah.
All with a completely different cast of characters that they feel interchangeable.
Yeah.
I'm done with the
Black
Black Templars.
Yeah.
Gaheris was all right. Like, he was a pretty standard Emperor's champion.
Yeah.
Um,
He gave great speeches in the middle of getting shot at.
They're all giving
While no one
speeches,
successfully
yeah.
shoots him. I'm like, what?
Yep. We've got Toron, who's their dreadnought, and
Oh, he does give a great speech too.
par for 40K writing. The dreadnought character is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The dreadnought character is always awesome.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it goes.
And he, like, there's a fiery explosion and
Yeah.
a sacrifice, and it's great. It's very.
but it's not enough.
It's not enough to
you
make the
know?
book good.
There's,
Yeah.
there's so much fighting and just repetition of what feels like the same fight.
Yeah. It's
And
a
that's
lot.
painful.
There's a lot of that.
You probably don't remember, but there was a Titan fight in this against a pair of great unclean ones.
No memory of that.
Yeah. It's early on in the book. There's like there's one warlord and 2 warhound titans.
Was it during the first 10 chapters where it was
Yes.
just strangers fighting strangers?
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I don't remember, because that's a poor way to start your book.
Yeah. There was not a strong connection there.
Yeah.
There's a couple mentions to the Savlar Chem Dogs being there,
Mhm.
which was kind of a weird name drop. Like, they are a famous regiment.
Mm.
But I feel like we didn't really, like, they weren't a perspective.
No.
And I feel like that would have been a pretty good character perspective.
Yeah.
Because they are, like, they're a penal legion.
Okay.
They are absolute trash
Okay.
as people.
Okay.
But they do have very interesting faith beliefs. And that would have been an interesting tie-in to the sisters, to have
Okay.
some sort of interaction
Yeah,
there.
that would have been cool. And I feel like maybe the dude, Rugrenz, the Zalvar chem dog, did have an interaction with
Yeah, he was a commissar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. He was around a little bit.
Okay.
But, like, commissars are not... They're not from the world.
He was at the meeting. They had
Yes.
a meeting about, like,
Yeah.
how we're going to prosecute this war. And the sisters were like, take this chem dogs and do this thing. And I think Arinia was like, but do we trust them to do it? And he was like, they'll be fine. I mean, I might have to shoot some of them, but they'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that scene.
I don't know how I felt about that.
Yeah, it was fine.
Oh, boy. What else do we have to talk about with this book?
There's a custodian with Ketla.
That is true.
Yeah.
So,
We randomly... Okay. So they're having this war. The sisters are trying to fight the Death Guard. The Black Templar are there, and the one Black Templar has a vision of a she-wolf doing something, and it's important, and maybe a Star Child, and then half the Black Templar decide they're going to go off and do that thing.
yeah.
So they leave the Dreadnought, I think,
And I think a few others.
and a few others, right? And then we spend a lot of time in that war on the ground with what's left of the Black Templar, and obviously Velua getting destroyed. And then we just kind of switch, like we're just on Ketla's ship. Like, I'm really unclear about how they found her. I don't know how the two forces met in space.
Gaheris had a dream that basically gave him coordinates.
Okay, fine. So they go there and they meet her, and then they're under attack in space.
So they're under attack. So Gromulus Tool leaves the Battle of Velua
to chase the Black Templar. Why?
No. To chase Cadla.
How does he know she's there?
They run into each other.
But isn't Gromulus Tool on the ground in Velua?
No, Gromulus Tool takes his fleet. That's why his followers land and take over combat.
Okay.
Like Tool was in the fleet that was attacking Catla's ships.
But then who's the Death Guard leading it on the ground?
Bulgrath.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's...
Like Tool was there at the start, and then
he left.
Then he leaves.
Okay.
And
then there's this
name. And there's like a scene when his lieutenants land. Wherein is there to meet them.
Okay.
And he's like, "Where is the pilgrim?"
Yeah.
And they're like, you'll meet him eventually.
And then I guess there's ostensibly a space battle.
Yes.
Ketla has Augustus, a custode, with her. She's a custodian with her.
Right.
Not sure why she has a custodian with her.
There's basically at least one custodian on all the task forces.
Okay.
Like at this point, it's just representation of every faction in all the task forces.
Okay. She's got a custodian with her. They are, and some Black Templar now, and they're trying to stop her ship from getting destroyed.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all like kind of disjointed, and it's hard to follow who's going where and why they're going there. For some of the characters, it's because the reason is literally dreams, which, okay, fine. Yeah, it just felt like kind of random, kind of lost.
Yeah.
And then the best part is the end.
Which part's at the end?
The best part is the end, when everyone dies.
Everyone
like,
dies.
literally everyone dies.
Oh my god. When Gromulus Tool dies, I was literally booing. I was like, no, the best character.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean, not everyone dies, obviously.
No.
And if you're going to read the book, you'll know that. But, like, any person that you thought might have been important because you spent 20 chapters getting invested in them and their relationship to the saint, not surviving. 50. Yeah,
50
I mean, it is 50
this,
chapters long.
This
it's
book,
really long.
This book is, at best, it's 100 pages too long. At worst, this book could have been an email.
Yep. Yeah, it's really long for no reason. And it feels long, too. Like, when we're listening in the car, we're like, why isn't it over? It's really long.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Let's see.
I think we covered all the important things. Like,
You think?
Yeah.
On fire.
There's nothing to, like, really commend this book. Except if you're really interested in how multiple factions of Imperial forces interact with each other in a space ground war.
There are so many other
But there are better books for that.
cover that.
Yeah.
This...
It just, in my opinion, doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Like, unless in the next, I don't know, 2 books of the Dawn of Fire series, Aniron's the most important Space Marine. Like.
So I'm looking ahead. The next one is Sea of Souls.
Okay.
By Chris Wright.
Okay.
So that's a positive.
Okay.
I have heard it also does not connect in particularly well.
Why are we doing that? Why are we making books?
But it's a very good book.
Okay, fine.
So I'll take that one. The one after that is called Hand of Abaddon.
Okay. That sounds important.
It's by Nick Kime.
Oh. Okay.
All right, we're pushing through on that.
We are going to finish the whole series, so we'll read them no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. We up to ratings?
Sure, you want to go first?
Okay. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. And I feel that's being generous, and that is Toole pretty much carrying this book along with our Dreadnought friend.
Yeah. I was somewhere between a 2 and a 4, so I'll call it a 3.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I want to lean towards 2.
This was rough.
Yeah.
This was real rough for us.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe we were just not in great reading space, but I don't think that's true. I just think it was not good.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's bad. Like, it's not. The writing isn't like terrible. It just is that there isn't a story, right? And it feels like we're making up the same event over and over to take up space.
It feels both repetitive and forgettable.
Yeah.
And it's so painful to say that.
Yeah.
But it is how I really felt on this.
Yeah.
I hate that this is just a hate rant, you know?
Yeah, I don't love a hate rant, but like I did not enjoy it. I don't know. But we are reading new things.
That's true. You recently finished
Wolfsbane.
I
did just finish
we'll
it.
be doing that soon.
We can do an episode on Wolfsbane.
Yep.
I enjoyed it.
We'll have Sea of Souls next, and
in the Dawn of Fire, right?
In Dawn of Fire, yep.
Okay, is that 7? Sea of Souls?
Yes, that is 7.
And then we are reading The Rose in Darkness.
Yes, The Rose in Darkness, another Sisters of Battle book by Danny Ware,
which I'm really enjoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whichever of those we finish first, I guess not counting Wolfsbane because you already read it, is the next one that we'll do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.